We treat our mistakes like shameful secrets that need to be buried in the backyard. We think that if we never let them see us sweat, if we never stumble over a word or miss a detail, then, and only then, will we be worthy of respect, love, and leadership. Let me ask you something and be honest with yourself. Aren't you exhausted? What if your relentless pursuit of perfection is actually building a wall between you and the people you want to lead or love? Today we aren't talking about how to perform your role better. We're talking about why you need to let the mask slip, let the armor fall, and finally give yourself permission to let the world see you make a mess. Today we're diving into a fascinating psychological phenomenon called the Partfall Effect. By the end of this video, you'll understand why high-achieving individuals who hide their process actually destroy their own influence, and why letting people see you sweat is the fastest way to build authentic trust. If you're struggling with toxic perfection or imposter syndrome and you feel like you are constantly performing a flawless version of yourself just to survive the workplace or the community, then this video is for you. My name is Aubrey Lynch, and I'm a former professional dancer, Disney executive, and wellness director. And I help high achievers apply my 40 years of experience to conquer self-doubt and reclaim their inner authority. I've stood in the wings of Broadway theaters, and I've sat in quiet executive offices, and I've seen firsthand that people who try the hardest to appear untouchable are usually the ones who are the most isolated. I've lived the pride lands of the Lion King and the rigors of Alvin and Ailey, and I can tell you, the most powerful moment isn't when the curtain goes up on a finished, polished production. It's what happens in the dusty studios, in the rehearsal, when everything is falling apart. Later in this episode, I'm going to give you 3 specific actionable tools, including a clinical strategy rooted in behavior science. And you won't want to miss the sloppy run challenge, because walking with lions means having the courage to let the world see you stumble so they can trust how you rise. Welcome to Season 6 of Roar. Last season, we wrapped up by looking at the overview effect, the astronaut's perspective that helps us pull back and see the bigger picture. But as we begin Season 6, we have to talk about what happens when you're back on the ground, in the thick of it, face to face with your team and your family, your community. Let's unpack the fringe topic for today, the Partfall Effect. In 1966, social psychologist Elliot Aronson discovered something that shatters every corporate and academic illusion we've ever been taught. He found that when a highly competent person makes a mistake, a pratfall, their perceived likability and influence actually increases. If you're already seen as capable, being flawless actually makes you intimidating and unrelatable. It creates distance. But the moment you spill your coffee or admit you don't have the answer, you become human. Your vulnerability acts like a magnet, drawing people towards you because you finally signal that it's safe for them to be human too. In the arts, we have a built-in mechanism for this. We call it the sloppy run, the ugly rehearsal, the crash through. A crash through is a rehearsal where you explicitly are told not to worry about being perfect. You're supposed to fail. You're supposed to fall off balance, forget your counts, forget your lines, hit the wrong note, make a mess so you can find the absolute edge of your ability. The director actually wants an overview to kind of see the piece. Is the narrative there? Is it working? Is the concept need to be tweaked? They're not going to get stuck on all the little moments in between, although some of them, they want to see those moments sometimes. They say it's a sloppy run or a crash, and then they start yelling at you for being in the wrong place. I remember that. Still, the idea is to get like that. Show your mistakes, and all is well with the world. I'm human. Things go wrong. Anyway. And for dancers, this was always my first part. You're pushing yourself to see how far you can go, and we should hold back, and testing your endurance, because you can do the pieces of the dance by themselves, but can you do them in order? You have to have endurance to finish it. I remember times where my lungs would be burning because I didn't realize that I used too much energy in the beginning. So after you do the piece over and over again, you learn how to pace yourself so that you can make it to the end. So much fun. Out in the real world, high achievers tend to try to hide the sloppy run. We want everyone to think that we just woke up this way, fabulous and perfect, like an old 40s movie where the women wake up with full beat lashes and hair done and lipstick. On the pillow in the morning. It's so funny. I love those movies. Anyway, that's not life. That's not real. When you're in leadership, hiding your mistakes can create a toxic culture of fear. If the leader is never messy, the team may feel like they aren't allowed to have a sloppy run either. You cannot inspire your tribe if you're trapped in a costume of perfection. You have to let them see you sweat. I've worked with thousands of people who think that being on 24/7 is the only way to stay relevant. But I'm telling you, as a living witness, your messiness is actually your authority. I had a friend who ran a plant somewhere in some industry. I'm not quite sure what they did, but they were a very stoic leader. They went in there perfect, and they had their articulate way of speaking, and they had their charts and their things working everywhere. And they expected their employees to be the same way. They eventually got a reprimand from the leadership that they were being too strict, too hard, and too cold. And they called me and were talking about this situation that they were in. I said, you've got to go in there and be transparent. Go in there and tell the people that report to you that you're not perfect and you don't expect them to be perfect. And apologize for being so stoic and being so perfection driven, and say, we're going to learn this together. I want to see your work. Don't be afraid to show me a draft, and blah, 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 blah. It worked like a charm. They began to be less strict with themselves and stop hiding their mistakes, and letting those mistakes be public and being in a state of learning as well, albeit at a higher level because they were leadership. They created a cult following in that place, and they are now on their second promotion because they stopped trying to put forth this image of perfection. It really does work. So how do we stop performing and start connecting? How do we embrace the ugly rehearsal without feeling like we're losing our edge or standard of excellence? Where theory becomes application, here are 3 tangible behaviors to help you leverage the Partfall Effect and find your center. The Sloppy Run Challenge. Identify one project this week, a spreadsheet, a script, or a presentation, and intentionally share a rough draft with a peer. Don't wait until it's 100% polished. Bring a trusted colleague into the dusty rehearsal studio of your mind and tell them, this is messy, but I want your eyes on it. This invites collaboration instead of judgment and builds profound trust. People love being asked for advice. Audit your armor. Take a moment today to reflect and ask yourself, what mistakes am I currently hiding because I'm afraid it makes me look unqualified? Write it down, then share it with a trusted person in your chosen family or circle. Naming the insecurity strips it of its power. When you own your mistakes openly, you become gaslight-proof. Strategic imperfection exposure. The CBT experiment. This is a research behavioral experiment used to dismantle clinical perfectionism. Perfectionists, and I've worked with hundreds of them, they often view good enough as a failure, which keeps their nervous system in a constant fight or flight. To rewrite this, I challenge you to intentionally make a minor, harmless mistake in public. It can be as simple as a purposeful typo without replying to all to correct it, or admitting in a meeting that you simply don't have the answer. When you purposely drop the ball in a low-stakes environment, you teach your body that the world does not end when you're flawed. You'll find that your humanity makes you infinitely more magnetic. Our armor doesn't always protect us. It can keep us cold and alone. By letting people see your process, our sweat, our messy, rough drafts, our sloppy rehearsals, we don't lose our power. We deepen our influence. When you stop needing to be perfect, you have to face the next lion. What happens when the applause stops? In our next episode, we're going to explore the silent standing ovation, mastering intrinsic validation. We'll talk about the arrival fallacy, that hollow science that follows a massive win, and how to build a reward system that doesn't depend on outside accolades. Hit that like and subscribe. We're building a tribe of masterpieces that aren't afraid to show their brushstrokes. One planet, one tribe, one world, one love. I'll see you there.